Hello, everybody, and how you doing today? Welcome to your daily lighting critique. We've got a bunch to go through today, so I want to kick things off. We're going to watch the demo reel here from Miguel. We'll watch it play all the way through, and then I will jump over to Photoshop and start giving comments on it. So, but I also want to say thank you to everybody who gave me a little patience yesterday. I had a big deadline. I needed to dedicate all my time to that, and that was a huge help. So thank you. I was able to deliver on it. So thank you all very much. All right, cool. All right, let's see here. Sorry, I do just like to let these play all the way through to make sure we get the full feel of it before we kind of jump into it. All right, cool. All right, so first off, let's just we'll talk about the overall structure more than the individual shots. So overall, it feels slow to me. Like it feels like it kind of, I literally, when I was just watching it, I noticed myself doing this. I checked to make sure that it was, to see how much time was left, which is not necessarily the best thing when you're starting demo reel. So I think we can cut down some of this stuff. So like, you don't need a breakdown for all of the shots. So I think, I think one for this first one would be fine. Stepping in. So this transition is strange to me. I would just rather, I don't need that zoomy thing. I just need to cut to this. Also, this is a big problem. The fact that you've, squished your reference in, so it's, a weird aspect ratio. And all I think about that is, it feels very squished in. And so it just feels, it's almost like it's sometimes like you look at something like that when you're reviewing a reel, and you can't give any assumptions about what the person knows or doesn't know, and so you're like, do they know it's super squished? So I would just maybe figure out a way to polish those up so you don't do that. So I think for this one, honestly, the breakdown doesn't do much for me. On actually, now that I'm looking at the breakdown of it, I think if you just zoom out, show the reference, and then jump back in and play through, I think that's plenty enough. And I'll, So for this one, no real notes other than anytime that you have a still. Let's see if the other one was like this. I guess they're all. Let me see at the beginning here. So they all have black bars on the side. That might just be a thing that you can fix in your editing package, but just something to be aware of. You want to kind of lock that in a little bit. This looks a little bit wider than traditional 1920 by 1080, if I think right. But if not, the little trick that you can always do, especially with stills, and I do this all the time, is that if they're at a different aspect ratio, this one too, what you want to do is you want to layer another one behind it, make that bigger, and then just blur it out. So it's got roughly the same color scheme, but it's a little bit fuzzy on the outside there. So it's also, you're kind of mixing up when the stills are animated or not. I don't think it matters that much, but I like to do a little push in, especially when it's surrounded by animated shots, because when you have animated shots and then a still, the stills just become a little bit too static. All right. That one's got a nice little push into it. This one does as well. So I like that aesthetic myself. So with this one of the things about this is her shirt is crazy noisy. And again, we don't need that transition. And I think that that's something that, again, this is your demo reel. This is your finished, polished, best work. And it's one of those things that like stands out. Again, I totally understand how that happens. Obviously, you're probably rendering this on a personal computer. You don't have like a huge render farm. You don't have the ability to crank that up. But the thing is like, I don't know if I'm reviewing this is if you can see that or not, right? It looks almost like sequins on her shirt there. So that's pretty much it. Other than that, I think that the work that you have now is a good start. I think that you can build upon this and continue to build out, because the work is good and demonstrates a understanding of the technology and all that good stuff. I just think that we can push it further to keep working, keep building, and as you do, we can like as your skills improve, your work gets better, you get more confident. Like you'll be able to swap. You'll be able to it's like you take out your work, the one that is least successful, and put in the newest one, and little by little you just keep improving your reel. But I think structurally it's pretty sound. It's just a matter of shortening it down, taking out like the longer, especially because we hang on this first shot for about like 35 seconds or so, which is a long time to stay on the first shot. So I would just kind of keep it moving along here. Also, I wanted to say this too. I was thinking about this with this breakdown. I'm a little confused by the breakdown in this shot. Let's see if we can just play it through. By the way, thank you for posting this to this online forum. This is helpful. So it's like, that gets added on top, and then that looks like something on the bookshelf. Okay, now the characters got darker, so it looks like you took off the thing that you put on. Now something like the layer swipes here don't, because it's usually like a build up, so it's usually like an additive thing. It's like, start with the key light, then the fill light, or like whatever the thing is, where this just feels like stuff's changing, and I don't really know why. Like, it's not because lights are being added. Also, the placement of this lighting and compositing just kind of being off center but towards the middle, I would push that to the side. So for the breakdown and build-ups, they should be linear. They should be like, this happens and this happens and this happens and this happens. So it's like either background, midground, foreground, or like adding individual lights. So it doesn't need to be like all the tweaks that you make. I would hide that, like, and just think of this as another opportunity to tell a story, right? You're starting from nothing and you're building it up to the final image. So it's always improving. So I would think about it that way. But thank you so much for posting this again. I truly appreciate it. So good work. All right. Okay. So I had it loaded here. I switched over to the desktop there or the internet there, because this one just wasn't playing through so well. So let me see if this one works here for this. So the frame rate's a little slow, but overall I'll just take a look at this real quick. This is beautiful. I mean, like, really, really great. Like, look at I love darker hairstyles like this, just getting that specular highlight across it to really give it good shaping, and you've got good value even in these. It's like dark hair at night, and you've got some really good value. The rim on it's very nice. I think the work you did on this is really fantastic. And looking at the reference that you posted, this is a little bit of a different color scheme. I actually like your color scheme more, if I'm being honest. So I think I don't really have any notes. I mean, I worked with Francesco for a long time, so we kind of came up through this through all this together. So we have a similar aesthetic on things. I just wanted to bring this up and tell you I think you really did a great job on this, and and that's pretty much it. Like the little bit, like you're doing a really nice job of balancing the warmth, especially in her nose, with the coolness of the surroundings. So there's like still, the character feels in this space, but still like maintaining the warmth of the skin tones and stuff. If I had to like be super nitpicky about anything, it would be like the edges of her mouth get a little bit. Wake up, pen here. Like if you look at the corners of her mouth here and here, they get there's a little bit of extra subsurface scattering popping through there, but like that's super nitpicky. You don't have to re-render anything just for that, but just something that I wanted to draw attention to there. So, but really, really great job on this one. All right, cool. So this is looking great. Huge improvement over the last week or so. A couple things about it. So I think we're getting in a much much better place. So like going back to the composition, which I think is working really well. I do think that if it was me, I would clear out some of the flowers directly behind the character because it's a pretty busy scene. Like there's just like a lot going on, and so I would clear that out just to like make a nice clear path for the character there in the middle. Maybe even like nudge this plant over a little bit just to get a little bit more breathing room from that. Just like a nice clear path right in the middle. Let's see, a couple other things. The skirt on the character is glowy on this side, on the shadow side. I would expect a little bit more fall off from the key light to the shadow side. Other things, the water feels a little bit like ice. I would darken that color a little bit and just look at some reference on water to kind of get that. You can also get some more bounce light from the water up onto these rocks. If you want to do a little caustic light too, that'd be like bonus points, but I think that's really cool. And then the other one, so let me just try this remove background thing and see if this works. The sky. The sky feels too dark for the scene. It's too much background. So basically the way that the sky is up here, if we're now getting like this much sun, it's like clearly a bright sunny day, but the sky feels overcast, almost nearing on like dusk-ish. So I would push the brightness up and see if you could like maybe even get some detail up in there, because like you have so much detail and so much going on that the sky feels extra blank because of that. And the thing is, and it's so easy to do, right? Like you spend so much time working on the 3D elements that when you get to the composite, you're like, okay, whatever, sky, blue, cool. All right, next. But honestly, the sky takes up as much of the screen real estate as many of the other environmental elements. So just like take some time, look at reference, and check that out too. And then the only other thing is just the overall level of like now it's about getting some bounce light in here, because I think your key light's looking pretty good. I think your fill is getting good. It's now just a matter of like really, because again, you've got this energetic sun coming down, hitting the ground. It's going to create an incredible amount of bounce light up in here. So you're going to see some bounce light in here, and like these darker values will kind of get nullified a little bit. I believe you're rendering this in a gaming engine, totally fine. But just one thing to be aware of is that flowers are really, really tough because they they only read as flowers with some translucency on there, and I don't know if you're going to be able to achieve that in the gaming render engine. But if you can, definitely go for it. But yeah, really, really great stuff overall. Look at this subtle shaping coming down here of the light coming down to the dark, like as you get closer to the ground. Really good stuff. And also, I would consider darkening the moss that's on this rock, just because at this point it's like blurry, and it's a blurry foreground, and it just becomes kind of like a graphic element where those two elements are really, there's a lot of contrast there, so my eye just keeps getting drawn up over here to the upper right, so I would, up there, terrible arrow, but I would worry about that. Perhaps also take down the depth of field a little bit, depending on the scale of the character, but based on the plants and everything, it feels human-ish size. And this level of depth of field, you don't really get on a full body shot on a character in the background. So I would just reduce the depth of field by like half. But really great job. I'm loving the rainbow effect on the wings. That's tough to get, and you're nailing it there. So really, really good job. All right, cool. So let's take a look at this one. All right. So got some updates. Awesome. Starting to see some shadow on the couch, shadow on the couch. I hesitated for a second because I wasn't sure if that was reflection or shadow. The fog is very, very heavy and very, very uniform across the shot. Like I'm not seeing shadows or anything cut in. But the big thing is like this look back here. It's heavy fog over very, very dark lighting. And all it is it just is coming off as like a flat kind of gray color. So make sure that the sunlight because the sunlight is strong on the characters. But again, like you've got it working with the couch. I would just, maybe it's the texture of the characters is different than the environment, but the amount of light that the sunlight that the characters are getting is very different than the environment. So I would just up the environment light, take down that fog. And I think that's looking. I think that'll help out a lot. Character's skin is looking loving that specular highlights on there. I think that's really great. It's a little bit too strong, So I would just pull that back a little bit. But the fact that it's there, and like you can see how that added stuff is really giving some extra shaping to some of the key elements, and I think that's really good. But I think it just needs to come back down a little bit. Let's see. Really nitpicky one. See how the way his hands go into the box? Do you see how there's like, we want to feel that shadowing happening as he goes in. So you want the hands to get darker as he goes in. Yeah, basically all that stuff feels like there's light linking on the characters that's making them brighter, artificially brighter than everything else, which you're going to do, but it's just, I think you pushed it a little too far and now I'm seeing it. All right, cool. All right, we got a Sir Desmodus Rotundus with some reference images here, nice little candlelight, again, like beautiful specks here on the skin, some good shaping coming across. The candle's a pretty low light angle, you've got that going on here. I would like to see some candlelight on the ground to kind of indicate its position, that it's kind of low and over here and kind of coming up. Also, we've got a lot of candlelight here, but I'm not feeling it as much on the hat or on the jacket. I think those elements are coming in a little bit more blue. For this character, the key to making him look as good as possible is getting that leathery bat-like thing going on his wings, right? Like, bats are gross, and they're gross because their wings are, like, again, that very leathery thing. So getting some specular highlights on there will be really good, just like kind of like broad specular highlights on there, like highly refined leather. And then these shadows here feel a little bit too sharp, so whatever light is casting those, I would increase the radius just a touch. But overall, like, this scale, like, everything's looking right. Like, this is composed well, like, well laid out. And then the only other thing I would say, too, would be to get some specular highlights on that background. Like, get something going across here on the door and on that wall a little bit. Like, it could come from the candlelight, because the candlelight is a small enough light source where it could create something like that, or it could come from just like an overall sky type of a feeling as well. But really good one there. All right. Good improvements here. Liking it. Feeling that pop of the character right in the middle. Hopefully that's what you want. And I'm not pushing you in a direction that you didn't want to go, but I think that really helps, like, really, like, very cool storytelling. The structure of this one's looking really good. The shadow from the character feels a little bit on a super overcast, misty day, I would expect the shadow to be softer than that. And it feels a little bit like, it feels like it's coming from like a direct, like there would be like a sun or a moon or something right there. And then the other thing is the scale of the ground feels too big. It's making the character feel a little bit miniature. So whatever texture you have on the ground here, like, oh geez, that was weird. Like in here, I would just go ahead and maybe scale that back, give it a couple extra tiles, because it's like it just makes the character feel small. And then I would also consider throwing some of the light onto the ground too, because like if it's bright enough to kind of hit there, I would just throw just a little kiss of it on the ground, just to kind of create a nice little like area around here that stages up the character. But really, really nice one there. Loving the light in the windows there. Like this variation in the color, oh, beautiful. Really, really nice. The shadows coming off it are a little bit sharp. Again, they pass through a window, which diffuses them, so I would just loosen that up a little bit. I don't know if that's the right term. And then the other big one with this shot, everything else is feeling really good, except for I'm losing the character. I think we need to make the character maybe darker, like just kind of silhouette, not like a full silhouette, but like, I missed that the character was there when I first glanced at the shot, just because the tone is so different. Again, it could be, maybe it's light glowing out of him or something, but we need to read the character a little more strongly. And when I talk about darkening, it would just be a matter of doing something like this. Just bring that, and then So it's going to be janky, as always, but just to give you like a rough idea, like somewhere in there maybe, just to create a little bit more darkness so that the character has the ability to pop off a little bit from the background. But really, like, this stuff is great. Really, really good stuff. All right, yeah, saw that one already. All right, Jordan, let us take a look at your dino attack stuff. All right, cool. Make sure I don't miss any, because they're, yeah, okay, cool. All right, so this was the reference. Loving the light rays on this reference and the specular highlights and the leaves and stuff. I think that's a really strong way to go, and I think you did the right thing by waiting a little while before bringing in those God rays and stuff. This frame looks awesome. I think the grass is a little saturated, but like this value range of mostly darks with little bits of highlight and like just picking up the characters a little bit is really, really nice. In these shots, in these frames here, especially I guess it's a T-Rex, looks too flat. Like I would love to get that same tonal scale with a little bit of rim light on the T-Rex as well. Mostly because, again, with this popping out thing, we want to really feel the shape of it. So like a good little rim light on there will do some wonders. But yeah, really really good stuff, man. Let me make sure I got all of them. I feel like I missed one. Yeah, that's funny. That one made me laugh. Yeah, the black points is going to be a thing. It's all like always a checking point. Oh, there were two of the same ones. That's why I was like, I thought there were 4. Come back up here. Yeah, because it was only because this one, it was a little bit tough to kind of step through. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, there's no way for me really to do that. So yeah, the ground can start off darker, stepping through, and then this is where the character gets a little bit of the rim line. We start to read that, can come around a little bit, reading, and it's like in this range, it's like we're like, okay, cool, I got it. Raptor running through the forest, and all of a sudden, bang, whoa! And this can be like a darker shape with the rim light. Then that now, as we're getting a little more frontal on the T-Rex, that'll start to emerge a little bit. And then here it's okay that it's a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't go this evenly lit, but like you can see a little bit more of it here. But it should feel like an ominous creature bursting through a thing. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, cool. All right, great. This one's looking really rad. I very much I like the tone. I still think the shadows might be a little bit hard edged here. It might just be a matter of filling it in a little bit more from the skylight. For the background, looking back at your reference, yeah, I saw Jordan's post about the translucency, and you showed your reference. So I think that's all good. The one thing, let me just pull up the reference. The one thing about the reference is there's more depth of field blur. Like we just don't see it as much, right? So we're just like kind of unaware of it. So I think the reason why we're both reacting to it is because of this. Like it's pretty high contrast there. And that's like, oh, there's a silhouette. And then once your eye sees it, you're like, oh, wait, that feels darker than what I'm seeing in the foreground. That feels like a different scene. So what I think that you should do is if you want to stick with that for the background, tone down that volumetric light a lot more. So it's pretty much just dark back there with little hints of things. And again, yeah, kind of matching that little. Because like if you look, it's like blurry. I guess there are trees, but you can't really tell. And then like black over here, it's just like varying values. But yeah, I think that would be. Oh, Juan, I think did I get this one? Where did this one go? Let me see. Copy image. Nope, not that. All right, cool. All right, so for this guy, it feels so. There's something about like, and I think that it's great that you've got this in here, but it's like there's a missing connection dimensionally with this. I feel like we need to put in some sort of haze or like a fog in here that makes it feel like it's starting to like wrap around it because she's looking into it, but it just looks like it's way back there in space. Also, this background image is, and I don't know if this is a compression on what, so check this, but like those stars should be white, and going to use Jordan's trick of checking the values here. If I highlight that, it's like 50% gray. So we might have a low resolution background, and I have good news for you is that NASA has a ton of space images that are super high resolution, that are super free for you to use because NASA is a government agency and people pay into it. So it's like, so that's one there. So I would maybe either tweak the image, well, first check it, then tweak it, and then if that's still, because it might just be a JPEG or something with not a lot of value to work with, then I would consider swapping out that with like a NASA like 10K image or whatever they produce out there. And then for the character herself, like looking like the key side feels about right. The fill side feels a little bit dingy to me, and I was looking at it for a minute. And I think I know why. I think it's because you're trying to infuse a little bit of cool light in there and into her red suit, and all we're getting is it's just like desaturating it a little bit. So whatever color that light is, I would just neutralize it. So that was always my trick with warm tone or cool tone characters. If you're trying to fill them in with the opposite, just go neutral. And that's like the safest way to do it, because like there's enough pink light on this side that you can like really feel the difference. But yeah, like looking here, it just kind of feels kind of grayish, which is where my cursor went. All right, cool. Should go make it blue. Let's see. Let me just do another quick check in Discord, make sure I did not miss any others, because there were a lot. Yes. I got that one in there. Yes. Okay, cool. That is, I think, yeah, let's make sure. Yeah, this was still from the last one. Okay, great. Thank you all so much for sticking with me today. I appreciate it, and I will talk to you all soon. All right, happy lighting, everybody.